answer your point, I don't want to say change. They scored 33 points, right? I think the overwhelming thing that happened was this was the first game that I've seen a defensive front physically match Philly's offensive front. Physically punch Philly in the face offensively. Saquon had that long run. It's the most I've seen Saquon hit behind the line of scrimmage all season long. You talk about, and Rex and Woody know this, the two words that you want to hear consistently defensively to stop a run game are penetration and set the edge. They got such elite penetration and they set the edge so consistently that if we're keeping it real, outside of that one long run, Philly did not run the football well, or at least as much as they had in the past.
Okay, it was obviously because the Jalen Hurts was not there. Why are people struggling to understand this concept? Jalen Hurts adds a dimension to this offense that helps the O-line, that helps the run game, that helps the passing game. Why do you think they run the offense that they run? Why do you think it's so many plays are RPOs, where at any moment you don't know if Saquon is going to keep the ball or Jalen Hurts is going to keep the ball, and Jalen Hurts is either going to keep the ball and run or keep the ball and throw. It completely changes how the defense is going to play as well, as they even highlighted on the broadcast, showing how Dan Quinn literally completely reversed what he was going to do. And you can even see in those handoffs of Kenny Pickett just being like, I'm handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley. Whereas that's not what they're able to do with when Jalen Hurts is in the lineup. I mean, you see a lot of this with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's not a surprise that these two running backs are now on historic paces the moment they play with awesome, dynamic quarterbacks. It's almost like, those quarterbacks improve the level of their team and their offense. Go figure. That was everything. Right, Saquon had one big run, that huge run, after Jalen went down. And then after that, it completely changed everything. I mean, what this game showed more than anything was the importance of Jalen Hurts. That's what it showed. And how, sure, Jalen Hurts is not the type of runner where he looks as quick and as dynamic as a Lamar Jackson. And he's not as physical and as strong and as a brute force as a Josh Allen. But it's the constellation of all the things that Jalen, there's a lot of Jadens and, Jalen Hurts can do. And it's never been about him doing a couple singular things elite or special or great. It's always been that he can do all of these things combined. And it's always the age-old question of, like, let's say you have like 4 quarterback categories, and let's say, 10 is the highest. Are you better off being like 10-10, 7-7, 10-9-8-10, or 8-8-8-8, right? 8's across the board. And it's interesting. There's really no strong 100% answer. At the end of the day, it's kind of like, if you're 8's across the board, that's great. Do you step up when it matters most? And same thing with the 10, 7, 6, 8, whatever. And to me, it was never about Jalen Hurts being like 10, 10, 10, 10, or 10, 10, 9, 10. For me, it's always been like 8, 8, 8, 8, which then elevates him tremendously, because it's kind of like there is no way to strongly take away or minimize him. You want to take away his ability to run? Fine, he'll throw. You want to take away his ability to throw? Fine, he'll run. And all of these different threats. And that's why it was really great that Romo did, I forget which game, but it was either against the Steelers or the Rams. But he really highlighted the dynamic of the game plan for the Eagles in terms of when they are running these RPOs, these RRPOs, in terms of what they learn throughout the game and how they keep the defense constantly on their toes. Because again, at any given moment, you really do not know what the Eagles are going to run. They lose that completely when Jalen Hurts is not there. And that's going to affect the offensive line as well. Not only the plays that they're calling, but in terms of how the defense is going to be able to attack that O-line and get after the quarterback and that run game. That's always been the reality. And so that is the takeaway. The takeaway is not like, oh, well, they were just able to match that O-line. That's not what the takeaway is. And it's not to take away anything from the Washington Commanders, but like, what are we talking about here, man? Seriously, what are we talking about here? Are the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts the only quarterback in the NFL where he goes down and people don't put a tremendous amount of blame on that being the loss? Like, what? If Mahomes went down, if Josh Allen went down, if Lamar Jackson went down, if Joe Burrow went down, Baker Mayfield goes down, any of these quarterbacks go down, that's where the blame goes to. That's where the burden of the responsibility goes to. But for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts, it's not. What are we talking about? What is the discussion that's being had right now? Am I like in another universe? I mean, my goodness, like seriously. What insanity is this? Jalen Hurts is a top quarterback in the NFL. An MVP candidate. One of the best Super Bowl performances. He goes down for Kenny Pickett, who played pretty well. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I understand they still put up 33 points. Guys, that's just not the way you look at it. That's just not the way the offense completely was transformed. Completely. You saw it from the jump. From the jump. And just even Kellen Moore needing to change it up and change up that game plan. The O-line needs to play differently because they have a different quarterback who's going to escape pressure in a different way. Everything changes. Everything changes. So the failure to really plant that flag and make that be known and make that be firm, just irresponsible. See, I mean, like, for real. Like, that's why there's, like, no panic in Philly. No issues in Philly. Jalen Hurts just needs to recover from his concussion. And they get back to who they are. It's that simple. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles loss to the Washington Commanders and Jalen Hurts going down and kind of how this whole game unfolded? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.